So recently in the news, here's Will Smith has worked 30 years to craft what's called a clean image. And he got married to another actress, Jada Pinkett Smith. And if you've been following them over the past 2 years, you'll notice that Jada has created her Red Table Talk. And one of the things that has come up in discussion in the Red Table Talk was her entanglement, quote unquote, with another artist, August Alsina. And as we talk about the dynamic of relationships among us as a culture, male and female, that was, in many people's eyes, a term of disrespect. So Will had to take it on the chin for 2 years, been the butt of jokes, been the butt of memes or what have you. And as I'm tying it into that era, that timeline, on this timeline, at that time to this time, where now he finally was getting rewarded for all the hard work that he's done in putting out great works of art. The Legend, Ali, you know what I mean? Just Concussion, all that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't deny the work that he put in. He was finally getting recognized. And at the time he was getting recognized, the situation took place where Chris Rock was on stage and he made an untimely joke, as it were, about Jada, which caused Will to react in the way that he reacted, which was smacking Chris Rock on the biggest stage there is for actors. There's no other bigger stage. And as a result, it jeopardized, his being able to get that reward, which all actors strive for. That's one of the reasons why they get into acting. I wanted to get your take, brothers, on that scenario, whatever it may be, who you feel was at fault, and what's the outcome going for it, and how does it affect us? I know that was 3 questions, but basically the question is, how is that interaction between these two great artists, entertainers, how does that affect us as the Black community? That's the question. How does that interaction that took place between these two great artists affect us as the Black community, if you feel it affects us at all?
Oh, I guess I'll jump in here first.
Yeah.
First of all,
first.
First, I respect and admire both of those creatives, Chris Rock and Will Smith, as well as Jada Pinkett Smith. I was watching the Oscars live, and I remember that situation happening. I thought there was something actually wrong with my TV, because it was a good chunk of it was getting bleeped out in time. And then I heard, I saw Will, say, keep my wife's name out your blank mouth. And I wasn't sure if this was staged, being scripted. I wasn't sure if this was kind of a gimmick, right? Or, a part of, this was kind of set up. But I did notice, what's the actress's name? She's Kenyan too, sitting right behind Will.
Nyong'o.
Yeah, Lupita. I saw Lupita's her face. He's so showing some concern. So I was wondering, okay, is this real? Is this really happening? To me personally, being several days removed from that situation, my heart goes out to both individuals, in particular, to Will, who in that moment made a decision, or took action that I think today, even now, he is trying to create healing from and with, right? I think the conversations that come out of this are going to be very important conversations for our community, such as, for example, I love to laugh. My wife loves to laugh. I could never imagine myself being a comedian today, especially, right? How much do you toe the line? What research do you do? What's acceptable? Chris Rock, of all people, a master at his craft, I think understands that when he's getting up there, these days you may get more than tomatoes thrown at you, right? you may get one to the chin, right? You know, by the Men in Black, by Fresh Prince himself. But the work of a comedian is an interesting conversation to have. That's one conversation, right? What is the role of a comic, a comedian today? What is do they serve a purpose in society? And I think they do. I think they certainly, whether it's entertainment, providing us an escape, et cetera, but the content and the doors and the lines that they push in terms of their content, I think has always been conversation, has always been, whether you want to go back to Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby and Eddie Murphy, up to today, right? But then there's, also there was a relationship there, right, between a husband and a wife, right? Kayode, you mentioned the, kind of the red table talks, and I was not like tapping into those stories in depth, but I was seeing some of the headlines. You have questions about that, kind of mental space, mental health, if you want to even bring that up, and I think for Will, as someone I've gotten upset before. I've not chosen, I've not taken action like that, and definitely not on a stage like that. But I can imagine the guilt, the shame, all of that. And I think for me, I want to extend a hand of grace, because I think, and I'm saying that Will's actions were okay. I think I don't think one of my concerns actually, honestly, was when the next day, because it was that was a Sunday. Like, I was thinking, because my students, they imitate what they see. Is someone gonna Will Smith somebody tomorrow?
Right.
That was actually what I was thinking. Like,
right.
is someone is someone seeing this individual with power and influence, and is that going to become a meme? Is that going to be a challenge? Is that going to be a show of machismo, of braggadocio, a braggadocious act? I'm going to Will Smith you, right? And taking that as a sense, and taking that with pride. But over time, even just within this week, as dust is kind of settling, and it's going to continue to settle, there's definitely there was a lot of pain there, and I think I'm going to give the Smith family kind of their privacy and respect to kind of to discuss and kind of do their own healing, as well as for the Rock family, who's also on the who's also part of this situation as well. Right. And I think I could see where there can be eyes looking at the Black and Brown community from that interaction. I choose to just think about it as a human situation as well. But those two gentlemen have been leaders. They've done a lot for so many people, and how they come out of this situation. I think that Chris Rock handled it almost as masterfully as you can. But at least up until after the incident itself, some people may question whether or not the joke itself was appropriate. Right. But I don't feel like it's in my place to tell this person, who was right, who was wrong. But I'm one who wants peace and healing, and for people to come out better and stronger at the end of it. So, I'll rest my, land my plane on that one.
That's beautiful, brother. That's beautiful, Kyle.
Indeed, no, same as the brother. I'm not gonna be long-winded. It's just about healing, family. For me, I see two brothers, colleagues, maybe friends who. It wasn't really totally about Chris. It was about Will, in that moment, and how he felt. And he felt offended, or his wife felt offended, and he felt like he had to act in that manner. But for me, the action did not justify the reaction of Will. And Chris, like you say, handled it masterfully, man. He saw it in the moment and recognized it in the moment. And it's just a time for healing. I've read Will's book. I've read his autobiography. So I would think I'll say that. I assume I have a various perspective on it. And I just see a person hurt, a person who does that. And I've witnessed that in my own life. And I've witnessed that in my own friends and family. Like that wasn't all about Chris. That was somebody reacting to something that was already at a level of I've had enough. They've reached their breaking point. So when someone says that to you, that's someone that's already dealing with anger, resentment, sadness, depression. It's already there. So it's just that one little spark that you need, right? Coming from somebody, you know, that knows you. So maybe, you know, that probably plays into a part as well, because people can do all these scenarios. What if he was white? What if this, all this hypothetical thing, and people like to do that, but it's like, okay, family, let's deal with what happened. Okay, let's stop doing a hypothetical dance here. All right, and that's another way that we do it in America. Well, what if this and what if that? What if a whole bunch of things? You know, what if you were 6 feet tall? What if these 2 white guys? You know, we can do this what if dance all day. Let's deal with the actual what happened, right? And what happened is healing needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. And also, what also needs to happen is people need to stop worrying about other people's lives and start focusing on their own lives and start doing the healing, because that takes away from what you need to be doing. Okay, so and that's not to say what we're talking about here is not relevant, but what I'm saying is what's relevant is like what Kenneth mentioned, is that this is a mirror, this is a reflection of how can we as individuals, as family, as community, heal our emotional and behavioral disagreements and discrepancies in our own lives. How can we heal? When does the healing begin? It starts now.
I agree with both of you brothers. I thank you so much. Kyle has been talking to me for years in regards to seeking therapy, you know, and seeking counseling. And I think one of the big things, like you said, Kyle, instead of worrying about other people's lives, we should worry about ourselves. You know, there's the community, right? That we have to be concerned with, prayer, that we have to be concerned with our ancestors, right? Our support and things of that nature, and just intercession. And to that point, I think we as a culture need to heal, and including in that healing is respect for one another. I think one of the things that has been a thorn in Will's side is he's always been, and again, we don't know him personally, so we can't go into that, but the perception is he's always been a thriver and striver and always looking for the best and doing the best, and taking the relationship on his shoulders with everything else, carrying that weight. And I think we as a culture with our Black sisters, and you're married, Ken, you know, myself, I'm not, I can't say that I am, but I'm coming from a perspective of being in relationships. And Cal, I can't speak on you. I know your situation in and of itself. I think the healing in terms of, and Kyle said this as well, the most rebellious thing you could do is raise a family. You know what I mean? And have a Black family. That's one of the rebellious things you can do. And I think Will is trying to hold on to that Black family and build on that Black family and that union. And I think we have to take a self-assessment in and of ourselves as individuals, but also as African Americans and Black, to learn to respect one another. And that's key to our healing. And I think we've been trained and programmed according to Western civilization based on their script to not do that. I think it's been one of those individualistic things that we can see play out now. And unfortunately, it's playing out in this possibly ruining Will's 30 years in just one, 5-minute thing. If it was 5 minutes, 2 minutes, you know, the whole whatever, in 5 minutes, ruining what he took 30 years to build and how it's been played out amongst us. That interaction was, Will's action was on another Black brother, you know, coming from a relationship with a Black sister. You know what I mean? We're our own destruction. And I think it's something that we can look at, learn from, and like both of you said, heal from. And Kenneth, you said this, start that communication among ourselves, our culture, union with our other half, or whatever the case that may be, and even helping us determine and factor in who are we choosing to settle down with, right? You know, we're good with culture, but maybe you're not the right fit for me. Like Kyle said, ask those key questions and do that research, you know, so that way the union together is one that both want, both are striving for the benefit of each other, as opposed to having this individualistic thing going on. So I thank you all guys for entertaining that question. I think it's relative to our culture as we heal as individuals, but also as a culture. And that's all I have to say on that.